Now we come to these electric verses at the end of chapter 5. They've been interpreted in many ways, but getting them right will be important in the coming days. Let's read Isaiah 5:26 from the Book of Mormon. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. And behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. None shall be weary, nor stumble among them. The King James Version puts this last phrase at the beginning of the next verse, but they say the same thing. So that first word is important. And he will lift up an ensign. This is a continuation of the previous thought, in which Isaiah said that God's anger is not turned away. In other words, what happens next is because of the Lord's anger. He will raise up an ensign to the nations. Anciently, an ensign was a sign, like a big banner. It was used to direct troops in battle. It's neither good nor bad, it's just a tool. In this case, the ensign will be a man who is raised up to the nations from far or from around the world. The question for many of us is this ensign raising an army of missionaries to gather Israel, or is he raising an army of soldiers to conquer nations? Years ago, an apostle, Elder LeGrand Richards, wrote a book in which he suggested that this was an army of missionaries going forth to gather Israel. But as far as I know, this has not been reiterated by a prophet or the first presidency. Of course, there is an army of missionaries, and there has been for nearly 2 centuries, searching out the pure in heart. But is that what this is talking about? Let's keep reading. None shall slumber nor sleep, neither shall the girdle of their loins be loosed, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken, whose arrows shall be sharp, and all their bows bent, and their horses' hoofs shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like the whirlwind, their roaring like a lion. These men who come with speed swiftly appear to be coming with weapons of war. In Isaiah's day, bows and arrows were the most feared and effective weapons. And more than that, the Assyrian army, which invaded Israel, was renowned for their deadly accuracy in using them. And as we know, Isaiah uses Assyria's invasion of Israel as a type and shadow of a latter-day invasion of a hypocritical nation. In fact, he says, with arrows and with bows shall these men come thither. To me, it seems that Isaiah is not speaking of missionaries, but of an army that will not only bring weapons of war, but will roar like a lion. He says, they shall roar like young lions, yea, they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry away safe, meaning they will carry their prey away safely, and none shall deliver. Notice also that Isaiah says that their horses' hoofs shall be counted like flint. In his day, horses were not shod with horseshoes, so horses whose hoofs were like flint were animals you could count on, especially in war. Whoever this ensign is, he'll gather an army from afar that will move swiftly, roar like a lion, and carry away the prey that none may deliver. And again, this is Isaiah continuing with his previous thought, in which he said that the Lord will stretch forth his hand against his people, and that their carcasses will be torn in the midst of the streets. This passage speaks of a powerful leader, an ensign, who will gather an army from far to go against a hypocritical nation, a nation that encompasses the Lord's people. As we will see, this will be a violent man who will indeed act as an ensign to raise up a vast army to conquer and destroy. And this is just the beginning. This is just the gathering. This is the counterfeit ensign hissing or calling his people forth to fill the ranks of his army. And they will come with speed swiftly, and the wheels of their machines will be like a whirlwind, and their roaring will be like a lion, and they shall indeed lay hold of the prey, and shall carry away safely to lands unknown. The last verse of this chapter reinforces this idea of doom. And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea. And if they look into the land, behold, darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. In a day of devastating earthquakes, when millions are searching for their next meal, and when many of the righteous have already been led away to build up Zion, An ensign will raise up an innumerable army to satiate his thirst for the riches of the promised land. And soon he will begin to conquer and destroy. But we must also remember that a true ensign will come forth with even greater power. The counterfeit comes first. Then the true ensign will follow to build up Zion and to prepare the humble for the coming of Christ. Next time, we'll see Isaiah's remarkable prophecy of this true ensign's holy anointing. I'm Curtis Taylor with the Words of Isaiah.